Picture this: a city so advanced, its wealth and knowledge seem to rival the gods themselves. Imagine golden temples, towering structures, and a civilization so powerful it controlled the seas. But in a single day, this magnificent empire was swallowed whole by the ocean, disappearing into the depths of the earth, never to be seen again. Sounds like something out of a fantasy, right? Well, this is the story of Atlantis, a city that has captivated our imagination for over 2 millennia. But here's the twist: was Atlantis real, or is it just an ancient myth passed down through generations? Today, we're going to unravel the mystery behind Atlantis and explore the question: could it have existed? Stick around, because what we discover might change how you view one of history's greatest legends. To understand Atlantis, we need to go back to its roots. The tale starts with a philosopher named Plato, who lived in ancient Greece around 400 BC. In 2 of his works, Timaeus and Critias, Plato describes an island known as Atlantis. According to him, Atlantis existed more than 9,000 years before his time, a sprawling island civilization that flourished in the Atlantic Ocean. Plato painted a picture of a paradise, a land rich in resources, magnificent palaces, and a powerful navy. Atlantis was ruled by kings, descended from the gods, and their influence stretched across the world. But, as with all great civilizations, pride came before the fall. The Atlanteans grew corrupt, turning from virtuous rulers to greedy conquerors. In Plato's tale, the gods punished them by causing Atlantis to sink into the ocean in a single, catastrophic event. But here's where things get murky. Plato never explicitly says whether this was a historical event or just an allegory for human downfall. Was Atlantis a real place, or was Plato simply using the story to warn against the dangers of hubris and greed? That's where the debate starts. Now, let's talk about the countless theories that have arisen over the centuries about where Atlantis could have been. There are many possible locations, and each theory has its own supporters. One of the earliest and most popular theories places Atlantis in the Mediterranean Sea, near the island of Santorini, also known as Thera. Around 1600 BCE, the Minoan civilization on this island was destroyed by a massive volcanic eruption. Some believe the eruption and its aftermath could have inspired the story of Atlantis. It was a thriving, advanced culture, and the destruction of Thera might have been the event Plato referenced. Another theory places Atlantis in the Caribbean, possibly near the Bahamas or Cuba. Why? Because some claim the ruins of ancient cities have been found submerged in the waters there. But much like the Mediterranean theory, there's no definitive proof. And then there's the most unusual theory: Antarctica. Some suggest that Atlantis may have once been located in Antarctica, but was lost when the continent shifted. This theory leans heavily on the idea that the Earth's crust has shifted over time, potentially placing Atlantis in a completely different location thousands of years ago. This idea is, of course, highly speculative, and many argue it's more fiction than fact. So, the question remains: is Atlantis buried beneath the Mediterranean, hidden in the Caribbean, or lost under the ice in Antarctica? Or is it just a myth with no real location at all? Let's dive into some of the evidence that supports the idea that Atlantis could have been real. For centuries, explorers and archaeologists have pointed to sunken cities around the world as possible evidence of Atlantis. One famous example is the underwater city of Dwarka, off the coast of India. This ancient city, believed to have been built around 1500 BCE, was submerged after a massive flood. Some believe that Dwarka could be a real-world parallel to Atlantis, offering a glimpse into the past of advanced, lost civilizations. Another intriguing piece of evidence is the discovery of strange underwater structures. In places like the Bahamas and the Mediterranean, divers have found what appear to be man-made stone structures deep under the sea. Could these be the remnants of Atlantis? Some say yes, while others argue they're natural formations. Still, the question lingers: could these sunken ruins be the clues we've been waiting for? Then there's the Bermuda Triangle, often associated with mysterious disappearances and unexplained phenomena. Some believe this region holds the key to Atlantis, that it could be the final resting place of the lost city. But again, this is largely based on myth and legend, rather than solid scientific evidence. Now, let's look at the skeptics. Most historians and archaeologists are convinced that Atlantis was simply a myth, a story created by Plato to convey a moral lesson. In fact, there's no physical evidence linking Atlantis to any real location. No artifacts, no ruins, no ancient records outside of Plato's writings. Some argue that the tale of Atlantis is more of an allegory, a story meant to show how even the mightiest civilizations can fall due to corruption and excess. Could Plato's story be a work of fiction, meant to teach the dangers of pride rather than a historical account? After all, ancient myths were often used to convey lessons, and this may just be one of them. Without hard evidence, it's hard to say for certain. So, was Atlantis real, or just a myth? The truth is, we may never know. The legend has stood the test of time, with countless theories and ideas swirling around its mystery. But whether it was a real city or a moral tale, the story of Atlantis continues to captivate our imagination. Perhaps it represents our fear of losing everything, or maybe it's a reflection of the advanced civilizations that existed long before us, whose remnants were lost to time. What do you think? Could Atlantis be out there, waiting to be discovered, or is it simply a myth that continues to haunt our collective imagination? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into one of history's greatest mysteries, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on more fascinating tales from the past. Until next time.